So before we get started, I just want to go over some of the things that you'll need for this course, which isn't much. So you will need to have Node.js installed on your computer. You can download it from nodejs.org. And we need this because Next.js relies on Node to run server-side code and manage dependencies. We'll also be using NPM, which is the Node package manager. So you do need to have Node installed on your computer. So next you'll need a text editor to write your code. I recommend Visual Studio Code, which you can download from code.visualstudio.com. It's cross-platform, so it doesn't matter which operating system you're on. It's easy to use, it's extremely popular, very intuitive, and has great extensions. You also need to have Git installed on your computer. You can download it from git-scm.com or use your package manager, depending what operating system you're using. But you should have version control for all your projects, but we'll need it specifically to push to GitHub, and then when it's time to deploy to Vercel, we need to use that GitHub repository. All right, so get that installed. I'm sure most of you already have it. And then the React Dev Tools for your browser, whether it's Chrome or Firefox. This will allow us to view our state, view our props, things like that within the browser. And then we will need MongoDB Compass later on to view the data in our database. You don't have to install this now. You can do it later, but you will need it for this course. All right, now as far as Visual Studio Code extensions go, there's just a couple that I would recommend. So if we go down to extensions, you definitely don't need all of these. Some of these don't pertain to what we're doing. But I would suggest the ES7 React Redux React Native Snippets extension. This gives you a lot of helpful snippets. I mainly use it to generate React components. You can simply do RAFCE and it will generate a function, an arrow function component with the export. So I'll be using that quite a bit. Another thing I would suggest is Prettier, which is somewhere in here. So Prettier is a code formatter. And I find this helpful because it will automatically format your code. I have it set to format on save. So if you want to do that, you can just go to your settings and just search for format on, right here, format on save, and you can just check that. All right, I'd also suggest the JavaScript ES6 extension, this right here, code snippets. This is great for like console logs. You can just do CLG enter or try catch enter to create a try catch block. I don't use it for everything, but there's just a couple things that I always use it for, and it's pretty helpful. And then there's another extension that I find helpful. That's this right here, multiple cursor case preserve. So when you use multiple cursors, if you want to change the bunch, a bunch of things in your file, it will automatically preserve the case, whether it's uppercase or lowercase. So I find this really helpful, and it's something that I definitely would recommend. So that's pretty much it. Two extensions that I use all the time that I'm not going to in this course are GitHub Copilot and Turbo Console Log. And GitHub Copilot, I'm sure most of you know, it's an AI pair programmer. I'm not going to use it because it puts things in the file that might just confuse people. All the suggestions and so on. And then Turbo Console Log will put the console logs in the file as well. And I think that might confuse people, and they might not know, what is actually written and what's being suggested from Turbo Console Log. So those are two that I would suggest using, but I'm not going to use in this course. All right, guys, so once you get everything set up, we'll move on to the next section and we'll start on our project.